Like in Mancon, a Yetmafa was able to determine those would be killed if they went to war, and he would select the fighting force. And he would pass through his labs, and he would find out whether you will die or you'll be wounded. That's one of the ways we've lost a Yemafa. We have his bags. What they are in, we don't know. How they were used, they were made of what, we don't know.
This is what happened when a people lose touch with their ancestors. So, Fonangwafo is talking about a military strategist that existed in Mancon. I'm sure we have this in many tribes across Northwest. I use that Northwest in quote so that you understand where I'm talking about. That was a military strategist, a general, that could look at you and say, oh, this one will go to war and come back. And they will go through his legs. Now we are in battle. We were hoping for Odeishi from other parts of the world. And Fonangwafo is sharing military strategies. It's been a long time we haven't fought, so we haven't gone into battle like this, so we've forgotten many things. Now I want us to listen to a short documentary about the kingdom of Nso. Remember, Nso will be our political capital of the United Kingdoms of Tika. Nso has been studied at the University of Yaoundé 1. The political structure of the Nso dynasty is incredible. It reflects our authentic Tika tradition. Now, let's take a listen.
The Tikari kingdom of Nso is one of the most powerful and ancient kingdoms in Cameroon.
Now, you hear some people call it Tikari. It's the same thing as Tika, right? Some call it Tikari.
It is ruled by His Royal Majesty Fbing Lan, who is the 28th ruler of Nso and the paramount fon of Bui division in the Northwest region. He is also the father of Nso, a people with a rich and unique tradition. Fbing Lan ascended the throne in September 1993 after the disappearance of his father, Fonga Bifon III. According to Nso tradition, he was chosen by the gods of his forefathers, who anointed him for kingship before his royal conception on the Juvba, a sacred mat. Since then, he has ruled with wisdom, courage, and compassion, earning the love and respect of his people and beyond.
30 years of supreme traditional authority
By hundreds of people, including loyal sons and daughters of Nso in high positions in the country and the continent, and religious leaders. They also paid homage to the Fon and praised him for his achievements and legacy. The 30th anniversary of His Majesty Fbing Lan was a memorable day for Nso and Cameroon. It was a day to celebrate the great lion of Nso, who has ruled with wisdom, courage, and compassion for the 3 decades.
When you hear our people talk about our fons as lions, this was before your indomitable lions. We came down from Sudan with this. Our leaders are symbols of lion. Our Takambans, Mafons, Quifons, Ngerons, these are all institutional figures or institutions within our fondom. Very, very important. You realize that most of our fons are on exile. Most of them are in Yaoundé Douala. The reason why I brought this to your attention is, remember, I told you that our kingdoms are different from the monarchy in Europe. The Quifons, the Ngerons, These are all custodians of our traditions. And if there is something that they do not acquiesce to that the Fons are doing, they had the right to dethrone that Fon. And hence, you see the Fons, not in alignment with the people, they had to run away. In Europe, that was not the case. The king came to power by divine appointment, and they stayed in power forever, and they owned the state and owned the people. But with us, you are a steward and a custodian of the people. And when we mix with this European system and not understand what is going on, we will start dabbling in politics in such a way that we lose our soul and touch with reality and our ancestors. And hence, our kingdoms the way it is today. I mean, it breaks my heart to see an honorable fund like that on Saw. We rely on you guys a lot to establish the United Kingdoms of Tika. There is no legal union treaty binding us with La Republique du Cameroon. You always have to prioritize your people over politics, over power, over money, because you are a custodian to that throne. We need this to set up structures that will help us reconnect with our ancestors. And that is what they raised me in this generation to remind us. We deal with legality, not just emotions. We are not legally citizens of La Republique du Cameroon. And I've read everything for you to see. Not understanding these things, God doesn't care. The calamities will befall our land. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. And that is why we study. I brought the Cameroon dream. And maybe the people did not engage so that we can get to a place where you really understand the history and do the right thing. And when things are not going, we don't just say, oh, the people are stubborn, things are not going well. God, what are we not doing? Because when there is no union treaty, do you know what is going to happen tomorrow in the future if you continue with this relationship? Some leader from La Republique du Cameroon, because they will never allow anyone from the Anglophone zone to become president, because of their limited exposure as well, they will continue this assimilation process until they destroy your tradition and everything, corrupt all your leaders to the core. So we are looking at what is going on right now and we say, hey, stop. And that's why you see the people will uphold that tradition and say, you, the fund, you can't destroy this. And that's how powerful. Imagine, just see what is going on in the Northwest. Do you think you can just destroy Northwest because of the funds? Some of the La Republique politicians think they can corrupt the funds and hence take over our territory and destroy our people. You've seen that it doesn't work that way. Because our institutions are not like that of La Republique du Cameroon. Again, this is more than 4,000 years of history. You can't take this colonial system under La Republique or what you adopted from France and just destroy this. It would destroy you. It would destroy La Republique du Cameroon if you do not return that funds title. Either Paul Biya or the child will return to the Northwest and denounce that position for peace to be in La Republique du Cameroon. Even as we split and part ways, they will have to return that title. And the funds will have to cleanse the land of that abomination for peace to reign in what you call Northwest, the United Kingdoms of Tika. This is no joke. Hunger, starvation, death, pain will visit that land. You've seen our sister, right? Condoleezza Rice. God preserved that woman. Through her lineage, they went through the slave ships to Europe, to America, so that we can see her today and let it serve as a reminder of who we are and what we are capable of. The gods of the Tika preserved that woman's lineage through slave ships so that we can see both male and female in our community, can see what is possible. Now, they go out on 20th May and they call it reunification. If a ratified union treaty existed, 20th May should still be unification day, not reunification. If you say reunification, then you are saying that you are continuing a German colony in Cameroon or a German country. You assume that that colony was a country. And so you say Chad, Equatorial Guinea was part of Cameroon. Now, if you're running over to those areas because of this crisis, very soon you try to cut part of those countries to join to Cameroon. That is sad. Don't go around the world thinking like that, my brother. Imagine, it doesn't make sense.
Long live the phone, long live Nsot dynasty.
I learned it from my parents. I'm not a fighter myself. I am a modern ruler.
There's something Fonangwafo said, but I would love to really talk to the elders in Nsot about this to have perspective so we can find a middle ground. I listened to Fonangwafo share something, especially the Amber fighters. We want to raise an army of people that have the heart for the Tika people. An army that you have to pay them to fight. Now they kidnap or ransom. This is the kind of community we have now. And some are trying to act as though they are Amber fighters to terrorize citizens. When people don't have a story that connects everyone in the community, pick up a mission without clarity, this is what it results to. This Ambazonia idea. Again, I'm a firm believer it is better to do something than do nothing. But as you do something, if you realize it's not working, change. I would have said I will enforce the idea of the Cameroon dream. But if I realize that things are not working, I step back and start studying and ask questions. This project, I invested a lot of time, energy, money to think that I dropped everything. Maybe some of your finances came through the community and some friends that cared about the struggle. Single-handedly handled everything on this project. But to see the behavior of both those from the Southwest and Francophones, 85% of the people who loved transformation came from the Northwest, I had to question everything. Question everything. Have a story that is clear, unique, engaging, help your people to have momentum. People should be happy to serve. Don't work for money, my people. Work for a cause. Work for a vision. Money will run after you. That has been my mantra my entire life. I served a radio station for 4 years in Cameroon without pay. I've served many people without asking money. This is the culture we had originally in the Northwest. You rarely ask someone from the Northwest to do something for you, and the first thing they think about is, how much are you going to pay me? That is not our culture. And some people will say, oh, they are using me. Nobody used me. Anybody would think they used me. They never used me. I learned in every process. I was at a radio station. Now, this is helping me to communicate and share a story with you. Because every day or every week, I was at the radio, speaking at the radio, sharing my ideas with the community, empowering young people in the community. That is what I was doing. Nothing is lost. Whatever skill I acquired in my process of serving, they are coming full circle for me to pursue this cause. Nothing is lost. Even the CSDP project, even the book that I wrote, The Cameroon Dream, you think maybe, oh, this project went down. No, I learned a lot. I understood the incompatibility of the people in this country through research studies and engaging with the people, not just with the ministers, of which I did interact with some of the ministers, heard them. The people don't have a plan. I told you, they don't have a plan. It's actually, they don't have a plan. Just the title of this book is more than his campaign speech. I mean this with all humility. The Cameroon Dream, that every Cameroonian can have the belief that something good will come out of their life. Because you must have the heart for your people to think to that dimension. You get it? Let's work for the vision. The money will come. Once we have true Tika people dial into this vision, we will be choosing those who get into that military because people will want to serve. Because you're restoring a broken civilization that was disrupted 553 years ago. A civilization that has lasted for almost 4,000 years. Just like Israel. That is what we are restoring in Africa. We will be like that Israel of Africa, the Singapore of Africa. Adapting modern civilizations, technology, to who we are as Tika people. In the next 20 years, once we lay this foundation, we will be the first world nation in Africa. We have 17,300 square kilometers of land, larger than 40 UN recognized nations. We'll turn our lakes into beaches. Focus on finance, technology, and engineering. Teach our children from birth right up to 18 the history of the Tika people, so they never ever forget for the rest of their life. They will share this story to their children, have conversations in Jangi groups about this story. Every inhabitant of Tika will know this story. Some will say, oh, what should we do now? Let this message go around. Because we don't want to take action and have people that are 1 foot in and 1 foot out. The first step was Moses made sure that every inhabitant from the Jewish clan understood that they had to walk out of Egypt. And then they went through several tests for character formation. Anyone from the Tika land that tries to betray this vision want to keep going with Ambazonia, pain will visit them. Yeah, I'll just leave you with our ancestors to deal with you. Life did not start with you. You're a continuation. Yeah, for them to raise me to say the things I'm saying and you think it's joke, you want to keep doing what you're doing, no, they will visit you. Some of you, your wives will leave you. Your businesses will go down. You lose your job. Sickness, all sorts of pain will visit you. And then you realize that life did not start with you. That is why I listened to Angwafo III. They didn't understand the story better, but they did their best. I have a lot of respect for his wisdom, opening up Bamenda for every tribe of the Northwest. See the amazing city we have and the education most of us have because of that initiative. Look at Banso, which is our soul. That they fought hard and preserved our culture. We'll learn and make things better. We'll duplicate this and make sure that every other tribe, village in the Northwest harbor this energy. so that we go on to build a society that works. The energy is in sync. Your belief controls your life. Don't let anyone fool you. That is why when America is fighting the ideological war, I understand. It's not a coincidence that most of the people with terrorist agenda are coming from the Islamic groups. Again, the Islam religion is amazing. There are some amazing Muslims. Don't get me wrong. But most of the individuals with terrorist agenda come from that religion. Your belief controls your life and your action. Most of us have terrible beliefs, bro, and it's holding us down. You say, oh, you don't want the white man, you hate them, and then you log in on Facebook. Your words, your belief is not consistent with your action. So if you tell me that we should build Africa just for Africans, and then you log in on Facebook to say that, you are contradicting yourself. If you say you hate the West and then you are looking for a visa to travel, your beliefs are not in alignment with your actions, so you become fake. I don't see the world that way. Pain has happened to us, that is true, but our future is in our hands. We can make things better from here moving forward. And get to be careful with other nations and caution them when we see them crossing certain lines, right, that we think brought pain upon our land. Restorative justice. All this punitive hate, revenge in our heart will eat us up. You won't be able to even use a cell phone. China did that and they were locked for 183 years. Until they were eating people in China. Until Deng Xiaoping came and opened up China for trade. Within a very short time, look at China today. Hate will eat you up. If you hate the white man, don't use any gadget. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Once you log in on these platforms, when they send aid, don't even accept their aid. Because when you eat from people that you hate, my brother, there is no way that your idea of fighting them will work if you eat from them. Abraham rejected the gifts coming from a king that he did not agree with. He said, very soon tomorrow you will say you made me rich. If I don't agree with you, I won't eat with you. I won't eat food from your house. That's just me. I won't drink from your house. We won't be friends. So if you think you really hate the West, don't desire to travel there. Even some of your relatives that live in the white man country, don't take money from them. Just stay away from everything. Go build maybe your own social media platform. Log in on it. Prove to me that what you want me to follow you with, you believe it and you're acting on it. Brother, we'll see. Maybe you have an idea that will work. We don't know. Go build something just for Africans. Let me see. I mean, I believe the world is a continuation. I believe that even some of the ideas that have shaped Western civilization, some of them started in Africa. And I can see remnants of that. 65% of the Bible happened in Africa. So there must be some elements even of our tradition in the Bible, of which I've seen. Now, I want you to take a listen to this video and then we'll wrap up the session. Is this blessing you so far? Civic education.
That's why we do administration, we do politics, we work to earn a living, and most of these things in order to change our tradition. And so we can talk of the politics of these days, not those days. It was war and war.
That is how we make sense of what our ancestors did. We are not just looking at changing our traditions. We are adapting making progress, modifying some aspects of our tradition based on where the world is going. We can't live in isolation, but we can't completely detach from our tradition. These are our elders' perspective. These are our fathers and their perspective. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that you don't lose your soul. Look at how our chiefs are behaving, our fongs are behaving today, because they've lost touch with their ancestors. So in those days, he said it was war. Even till today, or we still see war coming from European nations. It's not been long. So, but should we continue that way? No. I believe war is very barbaric. If people can think, reason, be mature, it starts with the citizens. If I approach someone from the Francophone zone to speak about an idea and they say, no, I don't want to talk about that. All of a sudden, now, what are you doing? You're creating a war. Very soon, there will be war. I meet someone from within our community from the Anglophone zone. Let's have a conversation on this subject. This is how you think. Oh, what books have you read to formulate your thoughts on that idea? And you say, no, that's just how I feel. And all of a sudden, war. When we choose to be unreasonable. Again, I said from the 15th century, right up to the 20th century, all the philosophers from Spinoza, Friedrich Nietzsche, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, John Locke, all those individuals, even Aristotle, their whole premise was we can use reason and make our lives better, make our communities better. When people choose not to reason, people just want to reason based on how they feel. You ask them, how many books have you read on that subject to arrive at that conclusion? Because definitely you have an idea, right? That idea is a hypothesis. Oh, maybe America is doing this. Maybe Russia. Okay, those are hypotheses. Put that hypothesis to test. And the way you do that is, first of all, study. I can't read 15 books on a subject and I want to talk, you want to just debate. And I ask you, how many books have you read on that subject? You say, no, I haven't read any book, but this is how I feel. This is what I watch on CNN. No, I've read 15 books on that subject. Do you understand what that means? I've read 15 books on that subject. So I'm making it easy even for the common man to understand without stress, without using buzzwords or impressive words. So are you willing to go read those 15 books and then we can sit and talk? The person say, no, I just want to talk with you, bro. So if you cannot read the 15 books, let's go ahead and take what I'm telling you, because I've studied and I've seen what is really going on. If we go this direction, life will be fine. All the founding fathers of America had to read the works of John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Montesquieu. At least these three authors, they had to read John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and Montesquieu at the minimum to show up and be in that hall and have a conversation about the constitution of this country. And everybody today follow what they wrote. They don't just get up and do as they feel. At the minimum, they had to study the works of John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and Montesquieu. And I'm going to add The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith, and also The Theory of Moral Sentiments by Adam Smith, for people to sit down and have a conversation with me at the minimum. Societies are built on laws, not on emotions, and majority win the vote. Most of you watching these videos that are uploaded on this platform, you are the ones that will play a significant role to shape this country we are building. And tomorrow, after you spend the time here, look at the views on some of the videos on this platform. Tomorrow, you want to say something, someone will just get out of the bar, watch CNN, and then try to argue you. Imagine how frustrating that is. That's why we have opinions. At the end of the day, we will end up destroying ourselves if we don't hold people and put them in order.
Traditional administration, the fund is the head of the governing organization. And we have people of the rural household and commoners. And the whole population is ruled by the Kwifon.
That is an administrative system that we had. The fund was the head, that is the executive. And then he said the Kwifons govern the people. That was the local government. And then they would tell you everything about you was barbaric. You didn't know what you were doing. When we get to dive deep into Nso Kingdom, some of these concepts will be clear for most of us. But almost everything that we practice in antiquity, America has that going on right now. Because America is copying after the Roman Empire. In Cameroon, imagine, Paul Biya is the executive. He controls the judiciary and the legislative. And he also controls the Constitutional Council. And then you want to go vote and believe that you win in that kind of a system. And people are not coming together and clamoring that those systems have to be structured the right way. There is no way in America, you are the executive, you can't have control over the legislative and the judiciary and the electoral college. Because that Constitutional Council you have in Cameroon is like the electoral college in America. But theirs, they have no function, just to declare or read the result. Here, the electoral college, made up of 538 members, they choose who become the president of the United States of America. If the crowd choose a leader whose views doesn't reflect the constitution, laws that were written by people who studied, sat down to draft a constitution that will govern the people in this country for hundreds of years now, and is still working. And the people wake up and have a good life because of that constitution. So everyone that will participate to draft the constitution, they must have some background in political science. Some of them must have studied, read the recommended books, know what they are talking about to sit down and have that kind of conversation. Not anybody in the community just get up, oh, my mind. No, you will build nothing with that kind of energy. Just waste people's time on earth and go nowhere. I'm 80 years old, so I'm qualified to be there. No, sir.
And the Kwifon represents the ruling section, made of princes. And commoners and foreigners. Yes, they did.
Now you are seeing a functioning governing system that we have, better than what even La Republique du Cameroon has. I mean, we are still to make modifications to adapt this to modernity. That is what we call moral technocracy. Most of our leaders have to have moral conscience. That is what is missing in Africa. Morality, character, brother. Can we have a good idea and you don't go behind my back and play another game? Or you're working within an organization, all of a sudden you want to break up and go start your own? Where are we going with that kind of a society? Loyalty. This country works because of that. And I've seen it time again and again. Without that, brother, is pain. All of a sudden, war. All of a sudden, people are in police stations. People are not talking with each other. Anger, bitterness, everywhere. Loyalty. You've met people in this country that tell you, I've been in one company for 40 years. 30 years. One company serving with all their heart. Did they have glitches? Yes. That is why their country works. loyalty. And some have ideas where you come into an organization, a leader is speaking. When you leave that organization, or maybe after listening to that speaker, you step down. What your friend tells you about what that leader is saying, you believe what your friend told you more than what that leader said. Like I share what I say here, instead of you listening, you leave, a friend interprets what I said, and then you follow that friend. Brother, if you did that in your classroom, are you going to pass the exam, my brother? Now, let me ask you, are you going to pass the exam? Are you going to pass that exam if you leave that classroom and what your friend said was more than what the teacher taught you? Do you think you will graduate? That is how we live now in our community. I saw it even when we were running this organization. Some people listen, step down, and what their friend interprets about what you said, they believe it. You think that worked in school, you listened to the teacher, wrote the test based on what you listened to the teacher, and then you were promoted. Now in real life, it has changed. You think it has changed. Now it's about whatever you think. And some, oh, can you just give me the idea and then let's push you on the side? My brother, that has been tried here in America. It still failed. They kicked Steve Jobs out of his own company, took the company that they would try it. Some want to hide Ngoketunjia. They don't want to say this is the founder of Ambazonia. They want to make sure that they hide him and then present themselves as the founder of Ambazonia. If you can't respect the founder, my brother, what kind of society are we building? I'll never, ever not respect the Nsokn kingdom. I will always respect the custodians of the Nsokn tradition because I've studied what they preserved. I'll never ever not respect Angwafo III for the diversity that he introduced in the Northwest, the Tikar land, to open up that town so that new ideas can come in, accept people from every tradition, and many other contributions that many other tribes in Northwest have played to build that region. There are many. Some of you will be sharing with me those contributions, and we'll begin to share it among our people, because all of those ideas from every tribe around the Northwest, we will look at what has worked for the continuity of our heritage. I will respect these people. We will always respect those who came before us. We should. Life did not start with us. Our founding father, our ancestor, Titam II, will always be referenced. Life did not start with us. You come into an organization, you want to kick the leader, and then you want to position yourself there. Brother, life don't work like that. You will fail. You don't have the heart for the vision. Ngoketunjia, this idea of Ambazonia, even though not well thought out, he is the bearer of that vision. And maybe that is why some of you failed immensely to try to push the visionary on the side, and then now you want to be the face of the mission. No, I rarely hear you reference that man. Doesn't make sense. Americans will talk about their founding fathers all the time. They will reference George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. They mentioned their names until I started hearing it through them before studying them. They referenced George Washington, James Madison, Thomas Paine. We must reference those who came before us. This kind of society of any man try his best kind of thing, nah. So
they use some powers.
Now for the military enthusiast, this message is for you. Those who are interested in the military strategy, listen to what Angwafo said here.
Like in Mancon, a Yetmafa was able to determine those will be killed if they went to war, and he would select the fighting force. and you will pass through his laps, and he will find out whether you will die or you'll be wounded. That's one of the ways we've lost Yemafa. We have his bags. What they are in, we don't know. How they were used, they were made of what, we don't know.
This is what happened when a people lose touch with their ancestors. So, Fonangwafo is talking about a military strategist that existed in Mankon. I'm sure we have this in many tribes across Northwest. I use that Northwest in quote so that you understand where I'm talking about. That was a military strategist, a general, that could look at you and say, oh, this one will go to war and come back. And they will go through his legs. Now we are in battle. We were hoping for Odeshi from other parts of the world. And Fonangwafo is sharing military strategies. It's been a long time we haven't fought, so we haven't gone into battle like this, so we've forgotten many things. Even the Takambangs, those mothers, powerful. These are custodians, women that brought peace and order in the community. Strong women, the Marfors that we had. We can't throw this all and just want to say, oh, now it's just the European standard. No, we be the Christians that we are, but let's not forget our tradition. That is our soul. When we lose it, our phones are out now. They see money, they see power, they're gone. So this was military strategy. As we dive deep into our tradition, this is us connecting back to our ancestors. Their spirits will guide us into these truths, even as we learn from the authentic traditions in the Northwest. Their spirit will guide us. Some of these strategies will be revamped. We will package some of them and sell globally. We will implement technology. We will infuse technology in some of these military strategies. Don't forget who you are. That is where you start. Every time you feel lost around the world, my brother, find who you are. Knowing that I'm Tika, I'm a proud man like never before, than called a Cameroonian crayfish. Tika, people of the stool. That is who we are. That's the meaning of that name. People of the stool. What is the stool? Where a king sits to preside over the people. Powerful, Nkemba people, Abakwa people. And we leave all of that and we are running on the wind. Now, what Fonangwafo just said, if you read your Bible, you've heard about the story of Gideon in the Bible. Israel had about 32,000 armies that were about to go to war. The enemy had captured their land. He was hiding at the time God called him. Fearful. He was not in the military. Called him mighty man of valor. But mighty man of valor, that is what God called him in his hiding place. That is why when I look at you today, I see the Tika warrior, the Tika engineer. I see you in the form that God has shown me, that our ancestors have shown me. You might not believe it now, but I believe in you. I know you will bless neighboring nations. You will bless even La Republic of Cameroon, bless Nigeria, bless other countries, and bless the world. I see that in you, whether you believe it or not. Dream big. Do something with your life. Believe that you came into this world to make a difference. It was not all about money. It was about leaving a legacy. That is as you're looking at me, I want you to inhabit that spirit, that we did not just come here to look for money, brother. What is money? When you exchange value, you have a certificate. That is money. You came into this world to make a difference, not to chase after money. And when you are pursuing the cause of making a difference, money runs after you. God had to call this man in his hiding place, Gideon, mighty man of valor. They had 32,000 men. God said they are too much. God said they were too much. Cut that number down. For those in our community that think we need a large military, you need a disciplined corps. People committed that are not in it for money, but in it to restore the Tika heritage that was distorted hundreds of years ago. Their identity. Do you understand what I'm saying? We don't need thousands of undisciplined men. We need committed people. God told Gideon, cut that number down. He cut the number down. God still said it was not enough until they had just 300 people. He said that is enough. So that when you go through the battle, you will know it was not because of your size. It was because of the power of God. You go in there, you're looking for miracle. I'm seeing military strategy. That a disciplined corps can overcome a mighty army than having numbers made up of people that don't have skin in the game. America is not the most populated country in the world, but they have 750 military bases in 80 countries globally. It's the heart. In the next 20 years, when you see a Tika army, you will know the difference. They have been giving money to La Republique, to Cameroon, and to Nigeria. Till today, Boko Haram is not gone. Their strength is when they run to the northwest to terrorize civilians. Shame. Since 2013, the United States government has been giving money. Since 2013, the United States government has been giving money to La Republique du Cameroon to counter terrorism in the north. Till today, it's not gone. When you come to the Anglophone zone, that is where your strength is. You have to guide these people, teach them. All this greed, self-centeredness, thinking only about yourself, not the next generation. Only looking for something to put in your mouth and drink. Chase after women. Have fun. Life is bigger than that. Yeah, life is bigger than that. Life is more than food and drink. And women. And fun.
They're hanging here. Just the little we know what Yamafa did as far as the war was concerned. If you were wounded, go for treatment. If you die, don't go. Go, you're all right, you can fight.
Of the national cake.
Where is the cake?
So you've heard it. We had everything. Military strategy, community development strategy. Those who came before us served because they had heart for the people, not money. That's why when you see me, they have to must pay you to serve. It's confusing because you have been programmed differently. I wasn't raised like that. No matter how the road in life looked like, I always default back to how I was raised. Service first. Anyone that has associated with me will tell you, number one, service. What are we up to? Let's do something.
Would it be fair that I take my position to divert a greater share of the national cake to mankind. It's a national cake. If the national cake is small, then the share is small. I'm having the national cake. The national cake is not a mankind cake. It's the cake of the nation. And to share it, as a good politician, it should be to the nation. I should not divert it to mankind. So what I brought from mankind is a share of the national cake. And since the national cake is small, I brought only a small bit of the cake to mankind. And I started with community development. The roads, even in talking of going from the commercial avenue, I did it by community. Crossing into the house of quarter. My father did it by community. Since when the English were here, we were attached to the eastern region of Nigeria when we were mandated territory. Nigeria was not doing anything for us. And that is one reason why we left Nigeria to join the people of the East.
You see, that is wisdom. Because some people say, oh, would I better join Nigeria? Are you hearing? Wisdom. There's a lot we can learn. I mean, our ancestors and those who came before us were not perfect, but there is a lot we can learn from them to make adjustments moving forward. How the Bamenda city was developed through community development. We've lost that. Money, 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 and yet we don't have enough. Money, 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 yet our people are still suffering. Let's run after money. Is it paying? Yet. Came here with the Cameroon dream, how to achieve peace, unity, freedom, and prosperity for all Cameroonians. Some want to become politicians through this initiative, when the whole idea is how can we move the country forward? Even with Paul Biya in power.
So even in Macon here, most of the roads, I did the community work. At the start, it was a good thing. But now, you see, I think we have a rich government. And the government council, the ministers are like the traditional councillors working with the fund. They look rich. And then the spirit of community work fags, and it's almost dead now.
Also, were we to get into one,
we have to think about getting back into community work. Rekindle that spirit. That is what built China. The collective is more important than the individual in China. And this is the community we come from. That means if the entire United Kingdoms of Tika will suffer, Brother Ben. Today, it's anyone for their tribe, and then everyone perishes. You see, we fought this struggle the same way. People started focusing on their tribe, and then you see they will still capture you. But when we prioritize the United Kingdoms of Tika, that is why all of us are uniting now. Because when we prioritize the entire nation, the entire United Kingdoms of Tika, even your tribe or your family will be taken care of. But if you prioritize your tribe, everyone else suffers, and so you get captured. So we have to move from being tribesmen to citizens. That is the transition we have to make. You can't beat a citizen, but you will always destroy a tribeman if you understand the loopholes in their tribes. If there's any tribe in Northwest, we can penetrate that tribe. But you will never be able to penetrate the United Kingdoms of Tika. Because what we will build will correct every mistake. That is why we still listen to everything that our ancestors have done. We listen to everything that the Amazonian leaders did. We listen to everything that they did almost 200, 300, 400, 500 years ago, so that we make adjustments now. No more mistakes. We don't repeat any mistakes in the past. If there is anyone, it will be something new. We will not fall back into the same trap that our ancestors fell in. This is what happened during the era of slavery and slave trade. When they penetrated us, we broke up into these small groups. Now, if you can understand the trick of one group, you can play one group against another group, one tribe against another tribe, and then you capture everybody. And we've done that. Now, we'll listen to one more thing and then we'll wrap up.
What in history from Cold War I would it be useful to learn?
Well, I do think there's some lessons from Cold War I. I'll come back to that. But let me just tell you the three reasons I think we shouldn't describe it as the Cold War. And the reason is we have a very specific thing in mind when we talk about the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union. First of all, it was deeply ideological. The United States had a view of how human history ought to unfold, and so did the Soviet Union. And the way that you can tell something is ideological is that a great power tries to imprint its institutions on the rest of the world. The Soviet Union was not satisfied with a Czechoslovakia that would be friendly. It was a Czechoslovakia that had to be communist, had a communist party. It was deeply ideological response.
Yes, including, of course, the scramble for Africa. Gary Kasparov has argued that America is losing badly the scramble for Africa between Russia and China on the one hand, which is suborning nation after nation, and the United States, which isn't really engaging. How fair do you think that is?
The Bush administration was very involved in Africa, both from the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS relief, malaria relief. I think President Bush probably saw more African leaders than 5 presidents put together. We ended a couple of civil wars, including in Liberia and at least temporarily in Sudan. And so I think we were very engaged in Africa. I do think it's fallen off. And
so, this our sister understands geopolitics at the level that most don't. From the Cold War to present date, she understands everything that has gone on globally and has played a major role to shape the world that we see today, including Palestine, Germany, US relationship with Russia, US relationship with Africa. Imagine an individual like this as a technical advisor, but just her story alone should inspire us to believe that greatness can come out of us Tika people. And God preserved her through her ancestors going through the slave ships captured from among us in the Northwest. And yet we can see her today changing the world. The first black woman to become the US Secretary of State comes from Bamenda. Never forget that. DNA is a determinant, not linguistics. Never forget that. Her DNA says Tika. Never forget that. Women, men, the community, be inspired and believe that we are called for greatness. Forward ever, backward never. Long live the United Kingdoms of Tika.